What's going on, ghosties? We are Tales of Spooky Coffee House. Welcome back to our podcast. If you're new here, thanks for joining us. I'm Veronica.
And I'm Chelsea.
And on today's episode, we are going to talk about the true crime topic of the week, the sinister crimes of Nancy Hazel. Chelsea, I can't wait for you to talk about that.
I can't wait that we're going to talk about something we can both pronounce.
We both can't pronounce?
That we can both pronounce.
Yes, absolutely, yes. Thank you, Nancy. Oh.
I don't think you'll be saying that later, though.
I know. As well as the paranormal topic of the week, San Pedro's Poltergeist. We will also pull the tarot cards of the week. But before we get started with that, let's go ahead and have our coffee break to get us pumped up. Chelsea, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know what's funny?
Your face.
Your bully is showing. I'm actually drinking coffee.
Wow, what are you drinking?
Just regular coffee.
Boring.
Like peppermint. Yeah, peppermint mocha, something to
That's not boring.
keep me awake. Keep me awake and get me pumped up.
You know what I did the other day that I don't usually do? I made a tea, a Seven Blossoms tea.
Mm-hmm.
Put some sugar in there, put some milk in there, made me some milk tea. It was okay, but you know, I'd rather spend $6 on a milk tea, not make it myself at home. It's just not the same. You know what I mean? It's just not the same. So I hear you have a new set of nails that wasn't letting you pick the tarot card.
It wasn't that it was not letting me pick the tarot card, I just couldn't shuffle.
Oh, you couldn't shuffle, right?
Yeah, I couldn't shuffle. So I had girls' night this past weekend, and we did a Harry Potter marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposed to be 2 nights. Like, we were supposed to be able to watch all 8 movies, and shit just kept happening, and it ended up only being 1 night. And then we still had to cut it short, so we only got to watch the first 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
But we bought from Glamnetic the Harry Potter house nails.
Ooh.
And of course, you know, your girl got Slytherin because that's my house.
No, that makes sense.
But I was so excited because mine was the only set where both of the nails were the same length.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually got to mix and match mine. So I have this really pretty, like, emerald metallic green.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have 2 nude color nails with a green snake on them.
I think on Saturday when this comes out, you should post it on our Instagram,
Okay.
like on story or something, you know?
Yeah, I can do that. I have
I
it
wanna
posted on my
see.
Instagram. But yeah, so I was super excited. But like, I haven't had fake nails in so long.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to relearn how to do everything. And being at my new job, typing has been a nightmare.
Yeah, I feel like when I get my nails professionally done,
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Jess Do My Nails on Instagram. They're usually they're long. They're not like long, but they're like half, right?
Yeah.
Half the length. And it's so hard to type. I mean, I could do it, but I'd rather just like, I don't know, get away, let my hands fucking no, not my hands, my fingers. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to say, okay, hold on. You know when you what I'm trying to say is like nails make it harder to type and I'd rather not struggle typing because that's what I
Yeah.
do on the daily.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, sometimes the nails come out so cute, you just don't give a fuck. Like you're just like,
Yeah.
but at least they're cute.
Yeah, because as a writer, like, I have to type all the time, but like,
Mhm.
they're just so cute and I
It's
love them.
it's a sacrifice that
Yeah.
we have to be willing to make.
Being a girl is hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I do want to say one thing though.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was at girls' night, I was like back and forth. So the ghosties, you probably noticed that the episode this week got posted a day late. It also, in the beginning of the episode, you hear me tell Veronica, like, why are you so quiet? I just want to give a big shout out to my cousin Robert because he literally saved that fucking episode. Like, I was stressed. I was like, shit, like, we had to scrap this whole episode because for some reason, Veronica's mic, I could not hear her when I was editing. And I was like this episode is screwed. Like, we're going to have to re-record or skip a week or something. And he totally saved the day. So shout out to Robert and all of the audio work that he's been doing for us this season,
And I'm so
because
sorry I have a shitty mic apparently.
yeah.
It works well when I'm gaming, but I guess it just
Yeah.
doesn't
Well, and
work
when
well when I'm
we
yeah.
tested your mic and it was fine, and then I don't know what happened.
Maybe it has to do with the whole like sending it, or I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But guys, I'm sorry. If my audio sounds crappy, I am sorry. I will try to fix it as soon as I can. Just deal
We're
with it,
working on
okay?
it. Yeah, we're working on it. We sound so much better than the last 2 seasons, so
Oh yeah,
yeah. But yeah, shout out to him because he's awesome.
Robert. That's so weird. Anyways,
I know.
I don't like it. I don't know him by Robert. I never knew him by Robert. But so I hung out with my niece Jasmine last minute the other day, and I was like, "You know what? I'm bored. I want to go out. Like, let's have dinner." And she's like, "Okay, we're going to go watch a movie too." And I'm like, "Okay." And she picked the movie, and that's where I've learned from my mistakes. I think
Mhm.
I've learned to not let her choose the movie from now on, cuz she chose The First Omen, which I don't think I've heard about. Maybe I've heard about it once, like in a preview or something.
Mhm.
But we go to see this movie. Okay, we don't know who's in it. We don't know what it's about. She thought that Sydney Sweeney was in it, but she was actually in Immaculate, which is a movie I recently saw as well, and I talked about it a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about the first Omen movie because, well, one, it's a scary movie, and we're a spooky podcast. It was very similar to Immaculate. The whole trying to get a nun pregnant to bring back Jesus or resurrect him or whatever.
Mhm.
Yes, there were multiple times where I covered my eyes or I didn't want to look at the screen. But more than that, my niece and I, we each foreshadowed this movie very easily. We would look at each
Mm.
other and we'd be like, this is about to happen. This is about to happen. Watch this happen. And sure enough, it happened. So it kind of took the element of surprise
Mhm.
out of the experience, which when my words try to mesh together. So it kind of ruined the experience a little bit. Overall, it's still a decent scary movie, but if you watched Immaculate and then you go and watch this one or vice versa, you're going to see the similarities. But go check
Mhm.
it out. I still enjoyed it. It's just it sucked that we were predicting every scene.
That's unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate, but speaking of nuns, I came across this video on TikTok of a nun pulling those not roller backpacks. Let's go with suitcase. She was
Mm.
she was walking down the street with this big old suitcase and you could see her struggling pulling it cuz there's some weight to it.
Mhm.
Um Someone later in their surveillance video of her walking around with that suitcase, but later on a passerby found the suitcase and there was an 89-year-old dead nun in there. So an
Oh.
80-year-old nun was pulling a dead 89-year-old nun in a suitcase around town. Don't know what happened. We don't know the backstory yet, but I thought, I don't
That
know, maybe that'd be fun to share.
I mean, Jesus.
I mean, just picture it, like
I know I'm picturing it. It's horrifying to
I
picture right
love how you
now.
were like, Jesus, exactly. Where was he? You know what I mean? Like, dude, get your girls in check. Like, they're out of control.
I know, right? Jeez.
Oh, man. All right. Well, do you want to get us started with the true crime topic of the week?
Sure. So we are going to talk about Nancy Hazel.
Love it.
So we're diving into the twisted world of serial killer Nancy Hazel. Now, you might not have heard of her before, but trust me, her story is like wild.
Hmm.
So she wasn't your typical serial killer. She didn't fit the stereotype of a deranged loner lurking in the shadows. She was quite the opposite. She was very charming, charismatic, and had a knack for blending into the crowd.
Ew.
Yes,
That's scary.
I know. So Nancy Hazel was born and raised in a small town nestled in the heartland of America. Nancy's childhood seemed unremarkable at first glance, but digging a little deeper, you could uncover a troubling pattern of behavior, such as she displayed a fascination with death and violence that set her apart from her peers, and whether it was dissecting small animals or exhibiting a disturbing lack of empathy, there were early signs that Nancy was not your average kid. Nancy was first married at 16 to Charlie Braggs. He was a co-worker at a linen factory, and with her father's approval, they married after 4 months of dating.
Mm.
He was an only child of a single mom who insisted on living with him after he got married. Nancy, who, by the way, she was also recognized by the name of Nanny Doss.
Nanny Doss?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Nancy would write, I married, as my father wished, in 1921 to a boy I only knowed about 4 or 5 months who had no family, only a mother who was unwed and who had taken over my life completely when we were married. She never seen anything wrong with what she'd done, but she would take spells. She would not let my own mother stay all night. So basically, like, Nancy and her mother-in-law did not get along at all.
Mm-hmm.
And his mother took up a lot of his attention, which limited Nancy. So the marriage produced 4 daughters between 1923 and 1927. And because she was so stressed out from everything between the mother and the children, she started drinking, and her casual smoking habit became a heavy addiction. Both of them, Nancy and her husband, suspected each other of infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
And he would often disappear for days on end. So in 1927, the couple lost their 2 middle girls to suspected food poisoning. Soon after, Charlie took his firstborn daughter, Malvina, and fled, leaving the newborn Florine behind.
Not the newborn.
Yeah. He also left his mother, too, by the way. Yeah.
Oh.
So Charlie's mother died not much later, and Nancy took a job in the cotton mill to support her newborn and herself. Charlie brought Malvina back in the summer of 1928, so like a little less than a year later, accompanied by a D4C with her own child. Soon after this, Nancy and Charlie divorced, and Nancy took her 2 girls back to her mother's house. Charlie maintained the story that he left Nancy because he was frightened of her. So as she grew older, Nancy's dark impulses only intensified. She was drawn to the thrill of manipulation and control, and often used her charm to lure unsuspecting victims into her deceit. When she struck, it was cold and calculated and very precise, and when it came out later, all the crimes that she would commit, it would literally send chills down the spines of people who knew her. So take, for instance, the next part of her story. Her second husband was Robert Franklin Harrelson. They met and married in 1929, and they lived in Jacksonville with both of her daughters. After a few months, she discovered that he was an alcoholic and had a criminal record for assault. Despite knowing all of this, their marriage lasted for 16 years.
Whoa, okay.
In 1943, Nancy's oldest daughter, Malvina, gave birth to a child, Robert Lee Haynes, and she would have another baby later who would soon die right after. Exhausted from the labor and being a mother, she thought that she had seen her mother stick a hat pin into her baby's head. And when she asked her husband and sister for clarification, they said that Nancy told them the baby was dead, and they noticed that she was holding a pin. The doctors, however, couldn't give a positive explanation, so they couldn't tell her how her baby died.
Wow.
After the death of their baby, Malvina and her husband, or I don't even know if they were married really, they split apart, and she started dating a soldier. Nancy disapproved of him from the beginning, and while Malvina was visiting her father after a particularly nasty fight with her mom, her son Robert would die mysteriously under Nancy's care on July 7th of 1945. Listen, I don't know about you, but if I thought that I saw my mother stick a hat pin in my baby's head, I would not leave my other child with her.
Period.
That's just
I
me,
don't know
though.
what they're
That's just
thinking.
me. Yeah. So Robert's death was diagnosed as asphyxia from unknown causes, and 2 months later, Nancy collected the $500 life insurance she had taken out on him. In 1945, Harrelson, who was Nancy's husband, would rape her, and the next day she put rat poison in his corn whiskey jar. and he would die that evening.
I mean,
Yeah,
that,
that I get.
you know.
Yeah. That one is justified, I think.
Yeah.
So after, Nancy met her third husband, Arlie Lanning. So they met through a Lonely Hearts column, which we've talked about those before in a couple of episodes. I don't know about you, but I feel like that's like the modern day Tinder and stuff like that.
Mm.
They met through a column while traveling in Lexington, North Carolina, and she married him 3 days later. Like her previous husband, Lanning turned out to be an alcoholic womanizer. She has a type. She has a type. However, in an opposite turn of events, it was Nancy who would often disappear in the marriage, and for months on end. When she was home, she played like a doting housewife, and then when he died of what was thought to be heart failure, the townspeople supported her at his funeral, despite her being gone all the time. So the couple's house, when he died, had actually been left to Lanning's sister and not to Nancy, who was his wife. And soon after he died, the house burned down. The insurance definitely went to Nancy instead of his sister, who quickly banked it. And after his mother died in her sleep, Nancy left North Carolina ended up at her sister Dovie's home. Dovie was bedridden, and pretty soon after Nancy's arrival, she died.
There's just so much.
Yeah,
death.
Like how did nobody notice all this? Yeah,
There's
exactly.
so much death surrounding Nancy, like,
and
I don't know,
nobody
like, it makes
suspected her.
That's the thing, though. Like, that's also something that is much more scarier than, someone that's known to be a serial killer. Like, this girl was like, it could have been either one. Oh, I don't want to say that. It could be any one of our friends or family members that we're like completely cool with. We think the best of them. And unfortunately, like, we don't know specific details about everybody in our lives. Like, I don't know if you've played with dead animals when you were little. Like, I mean,
I definitely didn't.
I know you didn't. I would have known because I'm very close to you, your mom, Nana, and everything, right? But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that. My point is that like you wouldn't know if I played with dead animals when I was little. I didn't. But like, you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Can we just move past the dead animals?
Go. Just go on with your topic, please. Oh no.
Looking for yet another fucking husband, Nancy joined a dating service. She joined another dating service called the Diamond Circle Club and soon met Richard L. Morton of Jamestown, North Carolina. They married in 1952 in Kansas. He did not have a drinking problem, but he was an adulterer.
If it's not one thing, it's another, right?
I know, right? She's got a type, I'm telling you.
Yeah, definitely.
Before she poisoned him, she poisoned her mother in January of 1953 when she came to live with them. And Richard would die 3 months later on May 19th, 1953. So she killed her own mother and then her husband.
Not surprised at this point.
I know, right? So perhaps the most chilling aspect of Nancy's crimes was her ability to evade suspicion for so long. Despite a trail of bodies left in her wake, she managed to stay one step ahead of law enforcement, slipping through the cracks of the justice system time and time again. That is, until her next marriage.
Oh my god, stop! Just when I thought it was over. Oh, it's giving Kardashian, man.
If the Kardashians were serial killers.
Yeah.
So Nancy married Samuel Doss of Tulsa, Oklahoma in June of 1953. And Samuel was a Nazarene minister who had lost his family in a tornado in Arkansas. He disapproved of the romance novels and stories that his wife adored, and in September of that year, Samuel was admitted to the hospital with flu-like symptoms. The hospital diagnosed a severe digestive tract infection, and he was treated and released on October 5th. But he would die on October 12, 1954. Nancy killed him that evening in her rush to collect the 2 life insurance policies she had taken out on him. This sudden death alerted his doctor, who ordered an autopsy. The autopsy revealed a huge amount of arsenic in his system, and she was promptly arrested. So, there's a lesson to be learned here, ghosties. If you are going to kill somebody, do it slowly, okay?
This is not a podcast for you to give people advice on how to unalive others, Miss
So,
Ma'am.
Nancy confessed to killing 4 of her husbands, her mother, her sister, her grandson, and her mother-in-law. Those are only the ones that she confessed to, okay? Remember, because 2 of her grandsons died, so there was more husbands. But the state of Oklahoma centered its case only on Samuel Doss, and Nancy was prosecuted by J. Howard Edmondson. Here we go, starting with the names that we can't pronounce. Who later became the governor of Oklahoma. She pled guilty on May 17th, 1955, and was sentenced to life imprisonment. The state did not pursue the death penalty due to her sex. Being a woman has its advantages. She was never charged with the other deaths that she had confessed to doing. She died from leukemia in the hospital ward of the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in 1965, and she's currently buried at Oak Hill Memorial Park in McAllister, Oklahoma. Listen, Oklahoma State Penitentiary is not that far from me.
That's not the one you went to, right?
No, I went to Ohio.
Uh-uh.
So the real question remains, though, what drove Nancy to commit such heinous acts? Was it a thirst for power, a twisted desire for control, or something far more sinister lurking beneath the surface? What do you think?
I think it's the control, because I feel like with someone who is manipulative, like, I think
Mm-hmm.
they seek control.
Mm.
And once they have that control, I think then their little murderous tendencies come to play.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely want to say, like, it's more about her wanting some kind or some type of control, maybe being the better one as well. Because, I mean, okay, I'm not saying she's better than all her husbands, because she is a killer after all, but,
Mm-hmm.
with her husbands all being alcoholics and having these issues, like, I think she tries to bring people in that she is better
Mm-hmm.
than, I don't know why she killed them. That's just the secret, psychopath within her that no one really knew about, or assumed she'd be, just because
Right.
she seems so chill and cool and just like everyone else.
So you want to hear something totally funny?
Mm.
I wanted to see if I could get away.
No, stop. What?
I wanted to see if I could get away with something, and I totally got away with it.
What did you get away with?
I definitely got away with talking about Nanny Doss twice because we talked about her in a previous season.
Did you just realize that, or?
I realized it after I had like done my notes and everything, and I just didn't want to change it
You know
because I had
what?
already spent so much time on it. But yeah, we talked about her actually almost a year ago today.
Here's the thing.
Almost.
There are listeners who don't listen to season 1 and season 2, or haven't, and they started on
Mhm.
season 3 or the newest episode. There are people that don't listen to every episode in order. They
Yeah.
go with whatever topic they want to hear about. So there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that. Plus, I have been wanting to bring up some old topics from like season 1 and talk about them again.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's another reason why I didn't change it either because I was like, "Oh, I did talk about her, but I used her final married name, which was Nanny Doss instead of Nancy Hazel." And we had been talking about like how we wanted to do like um reactions for like our TikTok and YouTube on our
Mm-hmm.
first couple seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, "Well, I want to see if, I can get away with talking about her twice and still like cuz there was actually a couple of things that I learned new about her too that I didn't know the first time."
Yeah.
So, it was fun, but I totally got away with it and I love
Yeah.
that for me.
You're totally fine. Like, what you think was gonna happen?
You tell me, bitch, really?
No, no, because I myself want to bring up old topics.
Yeah.
But in the beginning of your true crime topic, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so this is, I think, where my undiagnosed ADHD comes in. But you reminded me of this TikTok video or this reel. I don't even know. It's just this fucking video where it's like when you're best friends and you decide to start a podcast together, and then it's like after episode 1 they're getting arrested by the feds. And dude, I died. I was like, bruh, that's me and Chelsea. More you. You're the one that says some pretty crazy things. I just say random weird things, but you, as we
Listen,
just heard,
I've never confessed to anything
it's
though.
not about you confessing to doing things. It's like you just gave advice on how someone should go about killing someone. Like, friend,
But if somebody does that, then that's their problem, not mine.
I'm stressed. I'm stressed.
You're
I'm stressed.
stressed. You're stressed. Well, why don't you unstress yourself and talk about the paranormal topic of the week?
No, because that's gonna stress me out too. No, imagine. um.
It's your topic.
So my paranormal topic of the week, ghosties, is San Pedro's Poltergeist. Before I get started, however, I know Chelsea gave a shout out to Robert. I don't like it. I don't like saying Robert. I like the other name, but I can't say it because he'll get mad. Um, I want to give a huge shout out to Chelsea.
Oh God.
Because if you haven't noticed already on our social media, she's been working really hard on making new, can I say graphics? Will that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Graphics for
Yeah.
our posts. And Chelsea, I just wanted to say, especially on here, how thankful and proud I am of you, because stuff like that ain't easy. It's anything creative is never easy, right? It takes a lot of
Yeah.
practice to get something that you've envisioned. And I just want to
Yeah.
say I absolutely love the graphics you've created. They're amazing. So
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you for your hard work. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And
You're
that's
welcome.
why I think that this job is so good for me because as ghosties, as you've probably noticed before, I struggled with the social media aspect of it because I would literally get home from work and just be too tired to do anything. Like I could barely cook dinner, let alone do all the social media stuff for our podcast.
Mhm.
And now I just get to be creative like all day. Like in the middle of work, I'll be working on something completely unrelated to the podcast, and I'll be like, oh, this is a really great idea for a post or like this and that. And so I'm super excited. But if we're doing shout outs, I also can't take all the credit. I got to shout out to my girl Olivia because she's been doing the motivational Mondays and the what the fuck Wednesdays. So she's been doing the like the graphic art of it, and then I've been doing like the descriptions and everything, but she's been helping me out a lot just taking those two things
Team
off my
effort,
plate.
man.
So yeah, so shout out to her. This
We
is just
got
like
a
a
whole
huge shout
team.
out
We got a whole
episode.
team. We got
Yeah, we have
Robert.
a
We got
team now,
Olivia.
dude.
I got Erica on my end that's always shouting us out on TikTok, and I appreciate
Mm-hmm.
you. We have
We
new
got a whole
listeners.
team.
We have new
Yeah.
listeners. DeAndre, you helped pick out the topic last week. Shout out to Tiffany who just followed us today on Spotify. um, but yeah, a lot of people are now
Getting involved
getting
now.
involved, which is really fun and great and less stress for us too.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to have fun. We're trying to have fun, but
Yeah.
also, we can't have a podcast and not promote it,
Yeah.
you know?
Or take it seriously on some aspects of it.
Yeah, cuz like we're not after fucking money or millions of people to like listen to us. We just really want to reach
Not gonna
out.
lie though, that'd be really nice.
It'd be cool, but also I like my privacy.
Yeah, that's
um
true.
Anyways, I'm just gonna move on. So my paranormal topic. Enough about Chelsea and our team, okay? So let's start off by talking about the fact that sometimes a house or a building is specifically haunted due to some kind of death or even rituals that may have taken place there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately for some people, they themselves are the ones who are haunted. So now this goes back to like my experience with the haunted museum in Vegas. If you're new here, I'll quickly go over it. This was my third time in that museum in Las Vegas, and I left that museum in a horrible mood. Horrible. And I was with my best friend, and I'm never in a bad mood with her. Like, she brings happiness to my life. So, it's just, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because I want you guys to understand that sometimes a location isn't always haunted. Sometimes bad energy follows people. right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where people get that bad energy from, but some people have to live with that unfortunate weight on their shoulders. And that was the case for Jackie Hernandez. Okay, and this takes place between 1989 and 1990. So, this young mother was a victim to one hell of a predatory spirit. Okay, she is, or a young single mother who moved to a San Pedro neighborhood for a fresh start after she left her husband. So, Chelsea,
Yes.
imagine this. You're under major emotional distress, struggling with multiple jobs just to feed your own two kids. Jackie Hernandez, like, she would have to leave her two kids with her neighbor, Susan Castaneda, to be able to work and make it through financially. So imagine yourself going through all this stress. You just left your husband. Her old home, she was experiencing haunted or paranormal events. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What would you be thinking? Like, how would you want to escape this negativity?
I would probably do some kind of spell to fix it all.
Spell, yes, you are a witch. I would do some fucking saging. I would
Yeah,
do
or
something.
some saging, or like a cord breaking, something.
Something. Cause
Yeah.
poor fucking Jackie. Just cause, like, okay, I'm imagining myself in her shoes, like being a single mother, like
Mm-hmm.
you're having all these paranormal experiences, like
Mm-hmm.
you run away from that past. You want to get away from it, start fresh. She moves to San Pedro, only for paranormal things to still happen in her new home. And it's the
Yeah.
experiences that really, like, oh, creeps me out. And I left the one that really creeps me out for the end. So, the paranormal things that she would experience in the San Pedro home includes witnessing black shadows. Okay. Moving objects. Not cool because I always lose my shit anyways. Unpleasant odors, and that's kind of giving demonic.
Right.
Um, as well as an unseen force that manifests itself as a disembodied head.
Ooh, that would freak me out.
Right?
That part, yeah, that part would trip me out.
Like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't, no. If I just saw a disembodied head, like anywhere in my
Mm-hmm.
home, I'm out. I'm out of here. I'll live in my fucking car.
Now let me ask, would you take your mother with you, or would you leave her behind and just be gone?
She's Mexican. She can handle it.
She'd probably get rid of the head.
She No, I honestly I think my mom and I would work as a team to bless the fuck out of this house. We're a Mexican household, Chicano household, so we have holy water roaming around in the house somewhere in some water bottle.
All I'm picturing is your mother screaming in Spanish, telling the headless goat, or the head ghost, to get the fuck out of her house.
Yeah. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't have time for you. Like, that's kind of how I talk whenever, like, I'm falling asleep, and yes, it could be me dreaming or whatever, but I have heard, like, voices, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there have been times where, like, I'll roll over and I'll stare into, like, my dark room, and I'm not scared, but I'll be like, listen, I'm trying to sleep.
Right.
I'm trying to relax. So y'all need to leave. Like, I don't know who you are, but no visitors right now. Thank you very much. But yeah, if I was in her shoes, I would definitely try to sage the house. I would try to figure something out. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
maybe saging and spells and stuff weren't really as accepted back in the 80s, 90s as it is today. Like, today it's basically a trend, which is annoying.
Yes, it's very annoying.
But I don't know. That's my topic, guys. That's my topic. It
Wait, so
sucks.
did she ever get it out? Did she ever figure it out?
I don't know.
Dude, what the fuck?
I
How are
know.
you gonna leave me hanging like this?
Well,
This is a
here's the
horrible
thing.
topic.
There are many YouTube videos on this, like people ghost hunting the house, the home.
Yeah.
There are paranormal investigations that went on. So check those out. Maybe those have more information in it. The main thing that I wanted to highlight on this topic was the things that she was experiencing and the fact that it wasn't the house that was haunted, it was the person,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of makes it a little scarier.
Yeah, it really does, because it's like you can't escape it. If
You
it's just a house or an object, you can, but if
Yeah.
it's yourself, then you can't.
Like, imagine that bad energy never left me after the haunted museum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't even want to think about it just because, like, I know it'd be bad.
You couldn't live like that,
I
yeah.
couldn't. No, I probably wouldn't be here if that bad energy stuck around. That's how bad that energy was. And that was only, I think I only felt it for maybe half an hour to an hour afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until we were like in the fucking desert driving back to LA, where I was like, all right, I'm cool, I'm chilling, like I'm
Right.
happy, like I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I don't. It's making me want to take more precaution whenever I go to a haunted house, a
Right.
hotel, or whatever. Because
Protect
usually,
yourself.
yeah, usually I'm very confident that my spirit guides, my guardian angels, like my dad, my brother, like
Mm-hmm.
their spirit is protecting me. And I feel like, yeah, it's worked so far, but also I'm pushing my limits. So let's
Yeah.
not push too much because, you never know. But since that's the end of my topic, we're going to go ahead and move on to the tarot card of the week. Chelsea, did you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? Rock, paper, scissors.
I don't know how we're gonna rock, paper, scissors over audio, but since I always go first, I will go first.
Ghosties, if you don't already know, Chelsea and I, we never look at each other. We never see each other when we're recording.
Yeah, it's
Like it's
awkward
literally, it's
for
like a
both of
phone
us. We
call.
don't, neither of us like eye contact. Yeah.
Yeah, we have tried it. We've tried
Yeah, we've
recording, or
tried it.
even our YouTube, like our book
Yeah.
talk that we've done season one. Like
Yeah.
it's just so
It was
awkward.
very
Like I don't
awkward
like
for
looking
us.
at
Yeah.
you.
Like recording episode 5 of season 1 at Suicide Bridge was, besides the ghost fucking with me, it was awkward as fuck because, like, we couldn't even look at each other. Because
But
if we did, we'd just start laughing and nothing got done.
I was telling Chelsea before we started recording, like I kind of want to try to be like on a
Mm
video type call to be able to see each other when we record, just to see like how the energy
hmm. Right.
would be,
Third time's a charm.
I
Third
mean,
season.
at least it'll be amusing for our listeners, We're all awkward. Like
Mm-hmm.
we've been best friends for how long? We've known each other for how long?
Did you really want me to tell you the
No.
answer?
No. How
Okay.
close are we? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and we get awkward when we look at each other. It's not like if we have a normal conversation, maybe it's the idea that we're recording. Anyways, yes, your tarot card.
So 23 years. So the tarot card that
No. No. Every season it gets higher.
I know, when we first started recording in
We're at like
season
what,
1, it was
20?
only 20. Yeah, now it's 23.
I'm retiring.
Yeah, actually, technically, in August, September, it's gonna be 24.
Can you just tell everyone what card you pulled, dude?
I pulled the Eight of Wands, and this card represents movement, action, and it's a sign to learn to go with the flow rather than resisting it. So
Mm.
you really want to make the most of the present in order to move yourself forward for the future. This card is a high energy card, and it indicates like a sudden change, the kind that's going to bring personal growth and alignment. And so you're going to start to see the rewards of all your hard work paying off soon. And listen, I feel like I really needed that card this week, and I hope that it's a card that's going to really like hit everybody that's listening, because sometimes we just need that card.
Yeah, we do. We need a reminder that we're on the right path, or
Mhm.
maybe we're not on the right path, but fuck it, just enjoy the journey. Honestly, that's something that I'm a huge believer on. It's
Yeah.
that the journey is much more important than the destination. Just because of what
Yeah.
you learn, who you meet along the way, like
And I also really want to point out too, like, the card represents like, don't resist the change, don't resist what's coming to you.
mhm.
Just go with the flow of what's happening. And I feel like I finally started doing that after I moved out and split up with my ex. and everything has just been going exactly or not so much want it to go, but like needed it to go
Yeah.
for like my mental health and everything
That's a
else. And
good
so like,
change. Not the way you
yeah,
wanted it,
everything
but the way
is,
you
yeah,
needed it.
yeah. So everything is just like starting to fall into place, and I feel like it's because I stopped resisting and I just started going with what came at me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not everyone, if anything, everyone doesn't have full control of their lives,
Yeah.
on their journeys. So, something I like saying quite often is it is what it is.
Yeah. And I've also been listening to this book and I highly recommend it.
Listening to this book.
Yes, because I have audiobooks.
Thank you. Say
Um
audiobook.
I've been listening to the audiobook The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Heard about
And
that.
yeah, and I always thought that it was really hyped up, but actually I loved the book like so much. Like it's been
Mhm.
helping. And I
Mhm.
want to buy a physical copy so that way I can like make notes inside of it.
Yeah.
And so
Reread it whenever you need to.
so I highly recommend Ghosties that book. Also the one that Veronica told us about a couple of
The
weeks ago.
Alchemist. Oh, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the yellow and white one.
Yellow and white. It's yellow and red, but it wasn't a couple weeks ago. This is a
Is it
while ago. Book of
is it
Habit.
yellow and red?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. But it's really good because you really learn about habits, but like you know, right? Like, oh, a
Mm-hmm.
habit is just something you get used to doing over and over again. You get conditioned to it. But the book,
Yeah.
it just uses real life stories in a way where it really opens your eyes even more to
Yeah.
habits, and
Right.
especially bad habits. And it talks about how hard it is to get out of those bad habits. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That book was really good. Um, Also, The Alchemist. I recommend The Alchemist. It's such a beautiful book that that book is what taught me that the journey is more important than the destination.
Mm.
So, check it out. Check it out. The tarot card that I pulled is Knight of Wands. So, we're keeping it with the wands, you guys.
Right.
So, act first, think later. Driven by fiery ambition, the Knight of Wands is ready to take on the world and proclaim his spot among the best. Passionate about his path, he is fully committed to making his dreams come true. Bursting with enthusiasm, he is easily carried away by the allure of fame and glory and will rush into circumstances that will put him in first place. Balance out your impulses. Oh my god, this is great. Um, with rational thinking and think about the road ahead. Don't wait for things to come to you. Take every opportunity that you can get. Forging forward with speed can free you from second guessing your actions. Although you may not know what is next, the Knight of Wands encourages you to swiftly move forward, be up for the adventure, and see what's next. So I think this is a great way to balance out these two cards is yes, go with the flow, but also take whatever opportunities come your way because some opportunities only come once and some
Mm-hmm.
opportunities are disguised blessings. And even if certain opportunities don't work out and they lead to some kind of failure, don't see it that way. See it as it led to a lesson that
Yeah,
I had to
exactly.
learn to better myself or to better look out for what's going to benefit me to get to where I need to be.
I feel like
I like that.
I feel like this week's tarot cards are really just like
Supportive.
supportive, yeah.
Thank you. I needed it. I needed it.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we always need a reminder like of that supportive voice. And while the tarot cards do call us out sometimes and they can make us cry because they're like they don't hold back. There's weeks like this where they're like, "Hey, like you're doing great and, you know, keep going forward" and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. So before we end the podcast, I just want to apologize because I was much better at doing this season 1 and season 2 and I've kind of fallen off track and I'm so sorry because I know you specifically are disappointed over this, but I'm sorry that I haven't mentioned Pedro Pascal in a while. Whoa.
where is she going with this? I'm not disappointed in
That
her.
laugh was a little too hard, ma'am.
Fucking Pedro Pascal.
So, you fucking Pedro Pascal. So, my nephew Javier is
Sausage
someone.
boy. Yeah, we haven't done that in a while either.
Stop.
Or what
Sausage
was the
boy.
what was the other thing we did?
Oh,
Meow. Ghosties, if you haven't listened to season 2, watch like what is it? Episodes 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. I got you, ghosties. Go to season 2 and listen to the Blanco. What's your name? Griselda Blanco episode. That's the
Yes.
episode where we had Javier.
Yes.
And dude, he's weird. I hung out with him and okay, so this is gonna all come together. I hung out with him, his brother, my other nephew. We call him Lito, but his name's Miguel. I don't know. Robert Miguel Lito. I don't know. You know,
He's got a name.
he's got a name and he's got a nickname. And I was hanging out with them, and Javi let me cut his hair. I failed miserably. I'm so thankful for his mom showing up out of nowhere and kind of taking over. I mean, she was giving me notes too, and I was paying attention, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But Javi is not only known as Sausage Boy and meow, but he's also known to give me my birthday presents like 6 months later, or maybe even a year and a half later. Yes, this has happened. So I just got my birthday present from him this past weekend. Mind you, my birthday was December 31st. And it was picture like poster size, but a little bit smaller. And it's a book of posters of Pedro Pascal.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't even open it. It's still in its plastic, but I pinned it to my wall. So next time I go live on TikTok, ghosties, you'll be able to see his beautiful face behind my beautiful face. And I don't know, I wanted you guys to look forward to it as much as me, you know? And also, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll do better. I'll bring him up more.
Speaking of our men, I found this meme the other day that like really called me out.
Mm-hmm.
But it said my red flag started with these two motherfuckers, and it's
I already know.
Yeah,
I already
Skeet
pictured
Ulrich and Matthew Lillard from Scream when they played Billy and Loomis.
Yeah.
Billy and Loomis. Billy and
Loomis. Yeah, Billy and Loomis. No. Billy and Loomis. Yes.
And I was like, I showed it to my mom, and she goes, "Yeah, I think that is where your red flag started." And I was like, "Mom, I watched this when I was 6." She's like, "I know."
Do I have a red flag in men?
Older.
That's not a red flag.
They're quite significantly older than you.
What's 20 years? Thank you so much for joining us this week, ghosties. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode as much as we did. If so, please make sure to go give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok. Again, we are your hosts. I'm Veronica.
And I'm Chelsea.
Have a spooky weekend, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye!